Is in your hands. We breathe you. Now we can leave. No one nowhere. And then the shots. We can live without you. Okay. Okay, how's everyone? Hello.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, I'm sure we are all around.
Yes.
Our discussant is around. I can see Okenero Kewe, gorgeously dressed. Although I'm seeing Brady doing Samson is there. I know is there. I can also see Adebumi Emmanuel on. Braulawale Akinwale is on ground. Brady Wega Samuel too is around. Our last discussant is coming in now. Sister Praise too is around. Yeah, I can see Sister Yetunde Owe too. I know, yeah. Okay, so we have discussants around. I'm sure our mystery guests too will join us now, but just in a way to introduce us to this, I'd like to welcome every one of us to this maiden edition of Youth Hangout. It's from the stable of Covenant Church Ife City Center. I'm sure some people are watching on YouTube right now and listening on Mixler. I'd like to say that this program is to give space and opportunity to it, and let's see what the youth actually have to say concerning all these issues that are actually going on in the world. And so we're at our own local church. We're also looking at church in Ife, church in Nigeria, and the global church. You still tell your way, yeah. So you're all welcome. We'll be discussing about the church today. Church, one word that we hear on a daily basis. We go to church. But I would like our contestants now to help us, enlighten us what the church is about. So I've actually unmuted the contestants, all the discussants now. So I don't know who wants to break the ice concerning what the church is. I would like to introduce our discussants. Joining me, I have number one. I'd like to start from a young lawyer who graduated from OAU Ile-Ife. You'll probably see even with the way he has some goggles in his eyes, look lawyerish. Yeah, he's Tolu Jiboye. You can see. You can just wave to us.
Yeah, now.
Toluwani, you can just wave to us. Okay, so that we can know you. So that's him. Okay. So next is I think if I'm correct, is medical student. I think it should be in part 5 now. I think he's going to part 5 now in medicine, Obafemi University. His name is Emmanuel Adebumi. You just wave to us so that we can know you're there. Okay. Yeah. Thirdly, is I'll probably call him an experienced person. Yeah, he's out of school, but he's still in school. He's a dental house officer at Miawolowo University Teaching Hospital Complex. He's a studious person. He likes to read and he's dedicated to seeing men. I'm sure it's not just only men, but women and the human being, everyone to grow to maturity in faith. His name is Dr. Adedoyin Samson. We need to see you, or probably you need to wave to us, or you need to raise your hand. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. And lastly, I know she's a final year student in secondary school. Yeah, final year student in secondary school. Very vibrant lady. Her voice is so sonorous and she sings well, praising God in every way that she knows she can. Her name is Ogenerukewe Onokoya. Can you just wave to us? Okay. Yeah. You're all welcome. You're all welcome. So, we want to start this hangout. What is a church? What is a church? I'd like to break the ice. Alok Adebumi, Emmanuel, to start off. What is a church?
Okay. Oh, good evening, everyone.
Yeah. Can you please increase your voice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll be I'll be looking at the definition of a church from different perspective and from my own point of view anyway. And then we'll look at it from the biblical perspective. A church, contrary to what the general opinion, is not a building. From my own perspective, is not the structure that we have. A church is from the Greek word, which is a congregation of people, like coming together of people with common goal. That is the etymology of the word church. And we'll note something in the Bible as well. When Jesus asked this disciple, "Who do men think I am?" And they gave him different answers, and he asked his disciple, "Who do you think I am?" And Peter answered, and he said something. He called Peter. He said, in Matthew 16:18, he said, Peter, I hope you are listening to what I'm saying. Sorry?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we're hearing you.
Matthew 16:18. I will read from New Living Translation. He said, "You are Peter, a stone. Upon this rock I will build my church, and all the power of hell shall not prevail." So looking at it from another perspective, it's about a church is a group of people coming together with the knowledge of Christ as their own main purpose. Like the purpose of them coming together is to empower each other to grow or to have a clear understanding of who Christ is. And it's not just the structure that we have. At least for now, that's what I would say. But thank you for having me.
Okay. I'd like any of our discussants to either buttress that or have their own opinion said. Okay. I think, okay. Someone wants to say something? Okay, how are you doing?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And thank you, sir, for this opportunity. I think Bro Emmanuel has done a very good, wonderful job as pertaining to explain what the church really is all about. We must all understand that the word church is used in different contexts in the Bible. Bro Emmanuel already explained that to us. In Matthew 16:18, we see where Jesus, having answered him, Jesus was telling him that, "And I say unto thee, that upon this rock I will build my church." Now, the word church there will be referring to the whole body as one, the whole body of Christ. So that means the word church can be used in the context of every believer joined one. Is part of the church as a whole. However, there's also the context in which the church is used as a local assembly. That is a local church. We know, saw the first gathering really after the disciples were baptized with the Holy Ghost in Acts 2. In Acts 2:42, the Bible continued steadfastly in the apostles' doctrine and fellowship and in breaking of bread and in prayers. So that would mean so many people believed they were gathering in groups so that they can be ministered to, they can be preached to. And in line with that context, every single time we read an epistle, we would hear to the churches in Rome, to the churches in Ephesus, to the churches in Corinth, meaning that there were various churches in Corinth, there were various churches in Ephesus, there were various assemblies. So basically, a church in that context again would mean the gathering of a group of believers. In fact, if we read from 1 Corinthians 16 and Romans 16, we again and again hear Paul is in the house of one person or the other. For example, in 1 Corinthians 16, Paul was greeting the church that was in the house of Priscilla and Aquila, in Romans 18. So we can see that the church can also be used in form of a local assembly in terms of the fact that believers are gathering together to learn about the things of God, to worship together, and share the things of faith together. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay, so you actually brought out some things about the church being from what Christ said about that on this rock I will build my church. So I'm also thinking, compared to what we have today, would you say that the concept of church in the early days of the disciples, do we have same context as we have now? Would you want to say that the context of church or the nature of church at the beginning is what we have today? I probably like look at where to. Okay, good evening.
Well, the early church. If you look at the things that Paul said about them, they were more together. There was much love in the church, and which we still have now. But I feel like more united in the early church than of now.
Okay. So I think from what Rookie said now is that there was more unity in those times rather than what we have today. So are we saying that the big cathedrals and the buildings that we have now are not really serving any purpose as we're having? That was not the vision that Christ actually had when he referred to the word church.
I would prefer to say that the buildings we have serve as like community and having fellowship. It brings
I would like Toluwani to throw some lights on that also.
Okay, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. You're on, we can hear you.
So the question on whether the church then is still the same now. Okay, I'd like to say that I really would not want to compare because the time then things were different. And man lives and there's a change which is constant. The same way we say that during the time of Abraham, it was totally different from the time of after Jesus Christ. When Jesus Christ left the earth, I would say that the people then they had a personal experience with Jesus Christ. So like they had one thing that there's one thing with the nature of man. Once you experience something, you tend to believe more than now. Now, in quote, you can say there are different epistles of the Bible, different types of interpretations of the Bible, different pastors, different everything. So the way each person lives the life of Christ now is dependent on where he is or what he understands about the life of Christ. But then, in the after Jesus Christ left, they had a direct message from Jesus Christ. They lived with him throughout his days of his ministry. They were like working with him, living with him, waking up with him. So the kind of, I would say, practice of Christianity then is totally different from what we have now. There are many factors that are affecting now. We have social media, we have even the building itself, it's comfort. That time, they were staying under rain to worship God to do this. But now we have ACs in churches, we have different things. So the way we were practicing, people are now comfortable now than the way it was. That I'm not sure there's anybody that they will tell now that leave your father's house, leave your job, as because that time in the Bible, these men that were disciples were top people in society. For example, Matthew was a tax collector, and for you could be that to be a very strong, a trustworthy man in society. So Matthew leaving his job, I'm not sure there's anybody now that will be minister for finance, and they will tell you to leave your job. So I feel practice of religion, Christianity then is totally different from what we are saying now.
So I want to tilt the discussion now to, I mean, we've actually come to the current situation where we have big churches and AC filling a church. And what do you think are the effects of these big cathedrals, big buildings? Do we really need them if the church is, as you have defined, he said, on this rock, Christ said, on this rock, I will build my church. And some of our discussants are actually said, or probably pointing to that side about the spiritual church, we being the living stones. Do we actually need those big cathedrals?
Okay, I wouldn't say we don't need them, because even now, for example, rain is falling now, you don't expect any same person to actually stay under the rain worshiping God. And there's something they said, our body is the temple of Christ. We are the church. So these buildings are just a representation of a place where we worship the Lord. If let's say our body is the temple of God, sin and everything shows that our inside is. That's why God came to cleanse us. So let's say the church buildings are just a representation of how much we adore the Lord. Because you build a fine church, you can actually use your money for something else. But building these churches means you actually respect and want to. Sometimes it might be for competition in certain places, now just building for competition and everything. But I feel the building is just a representation of how you reference God and how much you see that God will also live in a beautiful place.
Okay.
It's present because we expect that once we enter the church, God's presence is in the church. So not just a dirty arena, dusty place. This is this. The same way we treat our houses, the same way we should also treat the house of God. You build a fine house for yourself. God that gave you the money also. Why not build a very fine house for God?
Okay.
So the building is just a representation of what comes from inside of us, because what is inside of you that will portray. If you say you are clean inside and then your surrounding is dirty, what are you saying? So the building is just a representation of and giving back to God. That's what I say it is.
Okay. Any of our discussants can.
Okay, this is Adedengi Samson.
Okay.
Bro Emmanuel pointed out earlier, and like I said earlier, why trying to explain what I think whatever question we are going to consider today, it's always advisable we consider it both in the context of the church as a whole, in that that would be every believer is gathered in one body together, and in the context of local churches, in that they are buildings. The truth really is in the context of the one body, like Ephesians 4 was saying, Ephesians 4 from verse 4, he said there is one body and one spirit. Now we must realize that in that context of one body, the church being in Christ, there's nothing the devil can do about that. That is established and that would always be true. This was said, upon this rock I will build my church, and the gate of hell will not prevail against it. So no matter what the devil is doing in this time, no matter the differences we have, that will always stand sure that the gate of hell will not prevail against the church. In Ephesians 5:27, the Bible was talking about the work of Christ, in that he said that he might present it to himself a glorious church, not having spot or wrinkle or any such thing, be holy and without blemish. Again, there's nothing the devil can do about that, because this is as a result of the work that Jesus did on the cross and by the power of the resurrection. Now, coming down to churches and local churches, the truth is, as much as there growth in our days and times, it is not only in our days that there were contentions in the churches, in the church. I mean, comparing local church, even in the days and the times of the apostles, there were contentions, various forms of contentions in the church. In fact, the book of Galatians is written just because of certain contentions, in that some certain people came to certain church, came to the church of Galatia, and they were killing others. The same thing with Acts 15. We see another contention rising up in the church. And again, this is not also the first time whereby people, some people are going in Bible days and in Bible times, such things were suffered and such things happened. So really, be a need for local church. That means there would be a need for a place for us. There's nothing bad in having a place, in having a roof over our head. There's nothing bad in having a place filled with AC. The most important thing, however, would be is the goal for which Christ set up the church. Is it being achieved? From Ephesians 4, for example, we know why apostles, pastors, and teachers, prophets, reading from 10, 11, 12.
Okay.
The Bible for the mature. It would mean no matter where the church is gathered, as long as that goal is being achieved, that saints are being matured, then the church is doing something active. However, if you're in the place where there are ACs, there are everything, and then the saints are not being mature, they are not getting to the point whereby they won't be tossed to and fro by every wind of doctrine, then it would mean the church in such a place is not doing its work. That's what I have to say, sir.
Okay. So from what we're saying thus far, there's a question that's just popped up in my mind. Who actually owns the church? You know, you have people, because if we go through history of the church and we go through the history of that concept or the word church, how it has been used over time, who actually owns the church? Just someone to quickly just say, just help us to attend to that. Who actually owns the church? Okay, Rookie.
I feel like the church belongs to God because the Bible says we are God's people. And if we are God's people and we have been commanded by God, by Jesus, the Great Commission to go and make disciples of all nations, we have been told to fellowship together. So I feel like the owner is the person whose instruction we are obeying, the person who is the reason for church in the first place, the person who is the reason for the existence of believers. So I feel like the church belongs to God.
Okay. So, so even with what is going on now that we have churches springing up here and there, the church still belongs to God. But yes. It says in the word, it says we are His church. We are His church. Who are those people referring to? Emmanuel.
Okay.
Just quickly.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity. The people that is referring to are the believer, those who have the understanding, and those who believe in the death and resurrection of Christ. They are His church. There's something I want to chip in. There are two Greek words that are actually conflicting in the Bible. We have the ecclesia and kuriakon. The kuriakon means a property, which is like what we mean as a church. Like in the Roman Empire then, kuriakon is a property of like a king. So the reason why we have it in the Bible is because there was a place that was made for some people to gather. Like when the Christians in the olden days were growing up, were coming to and they were developing. So it was like a property. But what about in the context of the Bible, the church, the people that believe in the death and resurrection of Christ are His church. That is the basic definition of the church. So that means I can't say because there is no church, there is no structure around there, I can't minister to people around me. I can't talk to him because I carry that thing along with him. As I am breathing, as I am walking, I breathe for him. Everything I do, the Bible says in the book of Galatians chapter 2, verse 20, I've been crucified with Christ, yet I live. But yet not I, but the Christ that lives in me. Like all those kind of things. Like, so we carry it around as we believe in the death and resurrection of Christ. We are his church, so we can manifest it anywhere, anywhere. That's why I like this period in which we are not having the structure. You can preach to everybody you see. Like you have to stay safe anyway. But there are a lot of, I can tell you that we have more churches now, even than before Corona period. So we are his church. We that believe in the death and resurrection of Christ, we are his church. That's my basic definition of that. Thank you.
Okay. So, like you said, if we're looking at the way youths now see church, would you say that the way the youths act in the church, they have the right perspective of what the church is about? Joey. Sorry, Joey.
Hello?
Okay. Yeah. So
I didn't get the question. Or like, is there any certain way that youth act in church? Because
is there any way that youth had been relating
said that
church from your own viewpoint? How has the youth been interacting with the church from their own perspective? From your perspective.
I'll say the youth has been interacting.
Okay, from your perspective.
Okay, I'll say the youth.
Do you think the youth have the right perspective and attitude towards the term church?
My own perspective, I'll say yes, because people have different opinions about different things. All of us here, discussants are youth, and I've been hearing my fellow discussants talking about what the church is, and it shows that they have an understanding about what the church is. So the way the youth relate in church, I'll say we have understanding of what the church is. Our attitude might be different from the way elderly people might relate. Maybe the kind of things, dressing, the way we shout in church. I'm sure people that attend campus fellowship to understand what I mean. Youth in church might carry chairs up and celebrate and jubilate. To other people, it might seem like they are not referencing the Holy of Holies. They are disrespecting what they understand as church. But I'd like to say that if we see things like that, because one thing that people say now is that the youth are supposed to church, they do it like the way they want to do it. They modernize what the church is. But I'd like to say that in the Bible, when David was dancing in the Bible, then in his house, when he was a king, for his wife to have said that the king has run mad, that means he did certain things that were beyond what a normal person will see. So I'll say that the church, like I said, the church is the art. It is us. We are the church. The building, and so I wouldn't say the youth are not behaving well, because I'm not sure if I'm getting the question, but I want to say the youth are not behaving the way they should behave in church. Many youths are pastors around. They become great pastors. So even the people that are big pastors now, top pastors, were once youths. So I'll say that the youth, there might be certain things that some people might do, maybe out of youthful exuberance or something. Okay. There are certain beliefs that certain youths have now. For example, youth can tell you that certain behavior, where is it in the Bible that it is wrong? Okay, the parents will say, sir?
Like example, like you probably in church and you're like,
you're pressing your phone.
Yes, worship is good.
Pictures.
Like,
selfie, you're doing videos of, you're doing videos of what is happening in the church. You tell somebody to tell you that that's wrong. But the youth in you will be like, "Ah, this man could say a jad." I'm showing them that I went to church. So there might be certain things that the youth should also try to do so that the other people will not see them as bad and also seem like they are respecting your adults and everything. But I feel there's nothing really wrong in the way the youth behave in church. I remember a time Reverend Shueton told me one time that he likes the way I dance. Many times when we come to the front and dance, to some people it might seem like these children are trying to scatter the church or something, but I feel there's joy in worshiping the Lord. You should have joy in praising and worshiping the Lord. So I don't feel that any wrong thing youth have done in church.
Okay. Let's come to in our own context in this current pandemic period. How have you been enjoying church?
This pandemic period.
Yeah,
I've been really, really enjoying church because before now, I'm somebody I'm used to using social media to worship. To many times I'm just in my room. I download sermons from different places, music. I listen to it. I worship as it comes, not like I have a specific, oh, today I'm going to worship Lord. I can start to worship and bless God anytime it comes. So now it has even been more because I'm sure the church at times restricts people the way the physical church, I mean the building of the church, going to church on Sunday restricts the way people sometimes worship the Lord because some people are shy, some people maybe they don't have beautiful clothes to wear, and when they get to the church, they see fine people dressing, so they tend to have a so low self-esteem, and this might affect the way they worship the Lord. Though it should not be, but now I feel this period of Corona pandemic has really helped to have a personal with God, a koinonia with Him, and I've been enjoying myself.
Okay.
To be sincere.
Rookie, do you think church online is appropriate? I mean, now they say we should stay at home and do our church at home. So people are still clamoring, let us go to church. So, your viewpoints about church online?
I feel like to me there's no difference between church online and club. The only difference is actually that you're prayer because it's truly you and God. Most people, you're not in the midst of a lot of people. I mean, fellowship is good, but sometimes you're not in the midst of a lot of people. So you can express. This doesn't apply for some people. We're still fellowshipping because the person that is leading is connected with other people in the spirit, even if it's online. And I don't feel that God can be limited because we're not in a building. I don't feel like church has anything to do with the building, or I feel like online church is actually still the same as having normal church, because church is not the building, it's the fellowship with people.
Oh, for Mr. Rookie, church is far more than the building, is something that is relational, simple. Will relate it also to like Adebomina, relate it to like more of a family-like, non-organizational setting. The church is a more of a simplistic way, or we are going back to what the early church is supposed, or the early church represented. Now, Emmanuel.
Thank you so much. There are two sides to this period. In a way, it's more of a really like we are to worship God and find an online church, yes. But on the other way around, what about do not have access to those platforms? How do we talk about them? So when we talk about this period, we have to put different things into consideration. Yes, this period we are free to serve God. There is no, like one of our discussants said, like, now you are in your room, you can dance, you are not under any pressure, you can worship God the way you want. And in the book of in the Bible again, what is why do we gather together? We gather to edify, which can be doubly. But I think for all these things to work out is actually having a basic understanding of what church is. Like that understanding is really important. Some people are like, for now, let me use myself as an example. When we started this Bible study, there are times like Mixlr platform, but I was okay, I can download the audio later. Now, why would I be wasting my megabytes? Then I will download the audio later. But trust me, all the audio I've downloaded so far, I'm not sure there was a time I've been able to sit down to listen to those audio, all those recorded audio. So when we put all these things into consideration, we consider the pros and the cons. Okay, what about people that do not have access to all these platforms? How are they edified? How do they grow? How do they have clear understanding of Christ? Yet now we can reach a lot of people. But those people that we are reaching, are you sure we are really reaching them? Really? Are we really having an impact? So until we answer that question, then that is where we can actually say this is like a family. Thank you so much.
Okay, so a question has been thrown by Emmanuel. Would Adedoyin attend to that briefly? Because
okay,
our guest very soon.
Okay, I believe the question is as pertaining to how effective online church really has been. Am I right, sir?
Yeah. Yes, and getting to the unreached.
Okay, getting to the unreached. Okay, all right, sir. The truth really is, as much as there are a lot of various platforms through which believers can grow in these days and time, we still can't neglect the place of physical gathering. We would notice that in the time of the apostles, Paul would preach in a lot of places in the book of Acts, then he would have to leave the place. After leaving the place, he would have to hand over the people he ministered to certain people in the place he must have trained. And that's where we begin to hear the context of people gathering at homes, people gathering in the houses. We must not forget the main aim of the church is so that people can grow, so that saints can be matured. And I know that's what we are tending to do online. But like Bro Emmanuel rightly point out, there's a possibility that certain people are not able to make use of that platform very well. And so just like it happened in those days, we saw that Paul still followed up certain people up, followed the churches up via letters. But apart from that, when he's following them up, he always talks about the church in which he's writing from, maybe a church at someone's particular house, and he greets church in other people's house at the end. For example,
are you there, Samson?
Yeah, period. As certain questions I wouldn't have been able to ask when we
were. Are you there? Hello?
Someone can serve as a pastor in case.
Okay, it seems that we're losing. Seems as if we're losing something. I'd like to quickly, I don't know whether Brawale Akamale has something to say. Brawale. Oh, okay. Thank you, sir. So within a minute each or within 30 seconds each for our discussion before I unveil our guests is, how do you see the post-COVID church? Do you think online church will still be viable? Do you think the physical building church will be viable? Or both will go side by side? Let's start with Adebomi Emmanuel within 30 seconds. Emmanuel.
Yeah, definitely. Post-pandemic church will be. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Post-pandemic church will be a very great church. Why? The church have exploited a different terrain. At least most church are actually trying a different terrain, which they've not tried before. I'm not sure if we don't have this pandemic. I don't know the plan of the church, even our church, that we can be having, or maybe YouTube. I'm not sure we have that kind of plan on ground. It's possible it can be done. So I think post-pandemic church can actually do what we have now with physical gathering. So the church is not limited to a given location. We can reach a lot of people outside the country, reach to a lot of people outside there. So I feel we can combine what we are doing now with what we will do then. Thank you. So post-pandemic church will have, it will be a new church entirely. It will be a new face of the church. Thank you so much.
Okay. Diboye Toluwani, 30 seconds.
Yeah. Okay. I feel the post-pandemic church would really not be different from what is happening now. Okay, maybe some people they didn't exploit the use of technology before now, because I'm sure a lot of people have been using, even our church. Yeah, we've tried using social media to promote them, to show the church. I remember during certain events. So I feel it's just that the church would now focus more on also using the information technology measures to also promote church, because I don't see a difference in what will happen, because people have been using it before. People will use it after Corona. It's just that some people are just trying to use it now because maybe they were not aware, or they just didn't feel the need for it before. So I feel there's really no difference.
Okay. Rookie. Okay, I think you're on.
For the post-pandemic church, okay, I feel like during this pandemic, people are having a lot of things to do, and I feel like it's kind of like a trial period for our relationship with God, because now it is just you and God, so you know where you stand, and a lot of corrections are being made to the lives of so many people. So I think post-pandemic church is going to be very wonderful, and I can't wait to see what's going to be like.
Okay. Samson, within 30 seconds.
Thank you, sir. Post-pandemic, most likely a lot of church will go much more virtual, but we must definitely be careful not to leave the apostolic physical gathering. We must not make that mistake. We must be careful, like Bro Emmanuel said, it must just be an addition, but it must be as strong as possible in terms of it. Also, a lot of people have not been doing certain things they've been doing, so there would be a need for reaching out to a lot of people immediately the pandemic's finished, just to help
us to see. Okay. So just come up now. I'm sure his face should be shown. Okay, so that's a guess for today, but okay, so you've had our discussions so far, sir. Can you please just give us your viewpoints?
Okay. Let me start with, okay, I want to welcome everybody. I greet everybody. Dr. Oye, thank you for.
Thank you, sir.
Let me just keep in this. I joined you when you were talking about the definition of church.
Yes, sir.
I think that is very, very fundamental, because if our understanding is wrong, we will not be able to stand.
Yeah.
If our concept is wrong, then our conclusion about the church will be wrong. So I think that is very, very critical to our understanding. The church, we saw that word, I think, twice. Jesus mentioned it first when he was talking to Peter, on this rock I will build my church. And the church in Greek is called the ecclesia, the sent out, the sent one, the ones that were sent out. And you saw Jesus telling us in the Matthew chapter 20 that I send you to make disciples. He said we should go. So for me, the understanding of the church is not a stagnant thing, it's a movement. As a matter of fact, the way God designed the church, nothing under the heaven can stand against the church. I mean the church of Christ. No pandemic, nothing. The concern, it keeps moving anywhere. You remember the apostles, they were scattered everywhere, but they kept moving. Philip was thrown into Samaria, he turned the whole city upside down. The church is a warless place. What I meant is that it's not, there is no barrier. The church can move anywhere. The church is spontaneous. The church has little to do with buildings, sir, because the pandemic is telling us that our building may be irrelevant. Okay? But the church is you and I. We are the church. And everywhere we find ourselves, we are supposed to be a catalyst, a revivalist that would transform, that would teach. He said we should teach, then we should teach, we should inform them, we should school them to become a disciple, then send them also to go from Jerusalem, which is our neighborhood, to Judea, to Samaria, and to the uttermost part of the earth. So the church is you. What you do in Nigeria, by the time you step out of this country, you will not change because you are now in America. It's the same anywhere in the world. The church of Christ does not change. It's the same church, changing lives, acting lives, transforming lives. Now, Colossians says Christ is the true image, the express image in human form. That is the church. You are the church. People will first of all meet you before they meet God. You have to see the love of God before they will meet the God of love. You are the first person who want to see. The epistle they want to read, you are the real church. They want to see you in your neighborhood as a representative of heaven. And our purpose and assignment is to bring down the kingdom of God wherever we find ourselves. He said in the book of Luke chapter 6, he said, this is how you should pray. Pray that thy kingdom come. So our job as the church is to bring down the kingdom of God wherever we are. Lockdown or not lockdown, the church of God is unlockable. It has to keep going. Maybe I should rest my point there. If there's any other, and somebody's talking about the post, what is it called? Pandemic church. Yeah. Which I want to believe that it's going to be a dynamic one. Why? I want to believe that what we are doing now is not, we are not just watching people for 12 hours and sleep believe that we are praying, we are fasting, we are reading the Bible. You give yourself assignment to finish the Bible before the COVID ends. Okay, do all those spiritual exercise because there will always be lockdown. There has been lockdown in the Bible. You remember when Elijah came out? The Bible did not tell us in 1 chapter 17 where Elijah came from. He just showed up. And the first thing he said was celebration against the Jezebel and the idol worship of the land. That man was coming out of a lockdown, I believe. He was locked down. This is what we should have done for ourselves. But God is using this pandemic to lock us down. We need it. We need to be locked down somewhere. Somebody needs to encounter God. Somebody needs to touch heaven so that you can touch earth. I think it's good for the church. The church is not where it's supposed to be. But I believe after this pandemic, the post is going to be a dynamic church. I want to see that. That's what I'm expecting. I'm expecting that people will come out and face the Jezebel of the land and bring down the kingdom of darkness in the environment and go to places, come out with full power of God. You remember even Jesus was under law for 40 days. When he came out, the Bible says his fame went abroad. That is what I want to see after this pandemic, and I can't wait to see it because I believe it's just glory. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. I don't know if if there's anything we had actually gotten from our guests today is that we are the church, it's not the building. And so we need to start one way or the other in this lockdown. I know Reverend Dr. Shueton preached some weeks ago about lockdown and log in. So which is what we should be doing right now. I don't know whether any of our participants, not the discussant now, have a question to raise within the few minutes that we have left. You are all unmuted now, so you can ask your question. Any of our participants, if you have any question concerning what we've discussed thus far. Okay. I think someone is trying to say something. Okay. Seems as if no one is trying to ask any question thus far. But can I just ask this? The term service, would we say which is actually appropriate for us to use for our church online? Service or worship or meeting? I'm just trying to play with some words now. Service, worship, online church, online service, online worship, online meeting. Which one do you think is appropriate for us to use? Any of our discussants can answer that, or any of our participants? Okay, Rookie.
I think it's okay to use, but I would prefer the word service because it defines it more. As in service, like fellowship between brethren. To me, in my perspective, I think the word service is more like we don't have to call it online service because like the online does not have to be emphasized.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Emmanuel.
I would. Okay. As much as I would want to use code, but I would like the online service structure. I would like the online service too. But there's something that when you asked that question, there was something that came out to my mind, and it's in the scripture when this woman at the well, and they were talking about who will worship, and said a time will come when the people worship in spirit and in truth, like so that I'm considering worship, but I'll still go for online service because I really want to work with what can really ring a bell to people. If it's an online meeting, they will feel like okay, online gathering, but online service still. We can remove the online, but service is still good actually for me.
Okay. So just in the form of us getting to the end of this discussion, how do you think one should dress up for church online? Should you or you should?
You should dress up. Oh.
Okay.
Like rookie.
What do you mean? No. I don't like that question.
This is about you.
So you should, you should dress up, not like, it's about 10 o'clock. I'm about to be late. Let me just put on a t-shirt.
No, you must dress up.
Exactly.
Why? Okay, why did, the church is in my house.
Why?
So, why should I have to, before I attend church at home?
But the question is, service, right?
Yeah.
The motivation behind it. Like, am I dressing up because, like, what motivates me to dress up with that? If you can answer that question, like, if I can find answer to that question, well. But if you don't really have an answer, you feel like you must try to dress, like, I feel. But your motivation behind it actually is what matters, anyway.
Okay. I think Praise wants to say something.
No. I was going to say that. Hello, can you hear me?
Hello. Yes, we can hear you.
I was going to say that when I was growing up, because I grew up in a house church, and my parents would make sure that we were properly dressed because it felt like you are in the presence of kings, and if you see that you really is greater than the president, greater than those VIPs that you would definitely get yourself decked up for, then it's worth it. Like Rookie is dressed up right now with regards and reference to who we really gathered here for. So if your heart is right, like brother like our brother said earlier on, if we have our right motives right, then of course dress well. We should recognize that someone is in our midst as the children of kings, like Rookie right now is the king, so royal. That we should, be, so children of kings. I think that's always been the reason that we go to church on Sunday properly dressed. We're not just going to a normal deity, a god or a goddess. Even those ones, they know how they get dressed when you're going to see their gods and goddesses. So if the king of kings is who you're going to meet, then you should probably dress well. Then besides, but it doesn't matter really. Some of us walk into church, for a service, coming from maybe from work or from wherever, and it doesn't matter. It's just your heart, knowing that I'm here for and about that. Sorry. That I've come to work. If I've earned, it doesn't matter if I'm sorry. It doesn't matter if I'm well dressed or not. God knows my heart. I'm here for worship. That's the major thing. You can be all dressed up and your heart is in. I hope they like the way I look, and it's not about God anymore. It doesn't matter. At that
Thank
point,
you.
it doesn't matter. So just to make sure your heart is right. That's where it is.
Thank you so much. I would like to appreciate everyone for today. It's more like creating the meaning of church, that even though we see big buildings coming up, but the buildings are not actually the church. We are the church. It is about the people. And so the church needs to focus more on building people and building them to know Christ more and more on a daily basis. Christ owns the church, just as our discussant and our guests had actually said. So it is not even about the routine, even though routine
occur in the cathedrals. God has started to disrupt the routine now and say, go to your house and lock yourself down. In fact, he locked us down so that we can be locked in. And he says, we are his church. We are the Lord's church, a spiritual house made of living stones, just as most of our discussants have said in 1 Peter 2:5. And we talked about church online. It's about our hearts. Dress well, serve God with all your hearts. It's about your motive to serving God, and which is where we are going to hang this today. But I think something I got from somewhere today says about Second Timothy 3:1 helps us to put things into perspective. That even though it says that in the last day, perilous times will come. And so in these last days, the world is experiencing more pandemic and more crisis. But the role of the church is still the role of the church. Go out. It's the sent one. Go out and make disciples. I believe on this note, we've been able to deal with the issue of what the church is and what the role of the church is all about. So I want to thank every of our discussants. I want to thank Adebomi Emmanuel, Ogeneru Kewe Onopoya, Jiboye Toluwane, and Adedoyin Samson. We really want to thank my brother, Rotaiwe Nigbokon, for being our OMG for this week. I also want to thank Brother Wale Akinwale and all our participants who have actually shown us thus far. So for our first guest, the first dude that signed in today happens to be Praise. And so I believe Brawley is sending you a gift of a card. I don't know which one he will send to you, but at least get ready to have airtime. And for anyone who is checking, you can check the chat room and see if you are the fastest finger to to get the gifts there. So thank you so much. I would like to appreciate everyone for coming. So join us next week. The next youth hangout will hold on Saturday at the same time. Sometimes 7 to 8 p.m. And next week we will be talking about worship. Worship. What is worship? How should we worship? Someone has said you can worship anywhere, and someone says I love to worship in the toilets. I mean, how does it look to worship even in the toilet? So join us next week and help us to spread the word. We know we are not that many today because of it takes time for you to use your data. But I feel this is the new norm for now, and we need to use it as much as possible. Thank you so much. Please do have a great day. Thanks everybody for joining in. Meet you next week. Bye.
Thank you. Yeah, bye.
Bye.